What if the one food sitting in your kitchen right now, the one you already buy, already eat, and already believe is healthy, has been silently failing you every single morning because of one small timing mistake? Not because the food is wrong, because the window is wrong, because the combination is wrong, and because nobody ever explained that this particular food contains a molecular compound that only activates inside your body under one very specific hormonal condition, a condition that exists for less than 90 minutes after you wake up and disappears the moment you eat your first piece of toast. That food is avocado. And before you think you already know everything about it, consider this. The version of avocado most people eat, sliced on top of bread, blended into a smoothie with fruit, or scooped alongside a carb-heavy breakfast, delivers about 20% of what this food is biologically capable of. The other 80%, the hormonal signaling, the fat oxidation activation, the 5-hour appetite suppression, is being canceled before it ever starts. Today, I am giving you a one-day challenge. Tomorrow morning, eat half an avocado in a very specific way at a very specific time alongside one specific pairing. Do it correctly, and you will trigger a satiety hormone so powerful it eliminates hunger for 5 to 6 hours without any act of willpower. You will activate a fat-burning receptor pathway that mirrors what your body does during a 12-hour fast, and you will flip a potassium pump inside your cells that lowers your insulin requirement for the entire rest of the day. This is not a diet tip. This is a 24-hour metabolic experiment. Let us decode exactly how it works. The Science Bridge. To understand why this protocol produces results that feel almost immediate, you need to understand what an avocado actually is at the molecular level, because it is not simply healthy fat. It contains more potassium than a banana, a fat profile that communicates directly with your hormonal system, and one specific compound produced when oleic acid from the avocado is absorbed in your small intestine. That compound is called OEA, oleolethanolamide. OEA binds to a receptor called PPAR-alpha, the exact same receptor pathway your body activates during extended fasting to shift toward fat oxidation as its primary fuel source. When this receptor fires, your body receives a clear biological instruction: stop storing, start burning. But here is the critical detail. If you eat avocado paired with fast-digesting carbohydrates, the insulin spike that follows blocks PPAR-alpha activation entirely. The compound exists, the receptor exists, but the elevated insulin acts like a jammed lock. The key cannot turn. Most people eating avocado toast every morning are experiencing this exact scenario every single day without realizing it. Timing is not a minor detail with this food. It is the entire mechanism. When you wake up, insulin is at its lowest point in the full 24-hour cycle. Glucagon, the hormone of fat mobilization, is naturally elevated. Your body is already leaning toward fat burning. This window lasts approximately 60 to 90 minutes after waking. If you eat something that spikes insulin during this window, you close it immediately and spend the following several hours in storage mode. But if you consume something that maintains the low insulin environment while providing energy, you extend that fat-burning window far into the morning. Half an avocado consumed within the first 45 minutes of waking before any starch or sugar enters a body that is biochemically primed to use it precisely as intended. The oleic acid triggers OEA production. PPAR-alpha activates. The fat oxidation signal goes out. You are not fighting your morning hormones. You are working directly with them. Someone who tried this after years of starting her day with oatmeal and fruit described the difference as jarring. By 11 in the morning, she realized she had not thought about food once. No energy dip, no craving for something sweet with her second coffee. That is not discipline. That is OEA doing its job under the right conditions for the first time. Why half an avocado specifically? Why not a quarter? Why not a whole one? This comes down to what researchers call the lipid threshold for CCK release. CCK, cholecystokinin, is the satiety hormone produced by cells lining your upper small intestine. When dietary fat arrives in sufficient quantity, these cells flood your bloodstream with CCK. It travels to your brain and delivers a clear, sustained chemical signal. Energy has arrived, you are full, stop eating. It simultaneously slows gastric emptying, keeping food in your stomach longer, which extends physical fullness for hours after the meal ends. But CCK release requires a minimum fat dose to trigger meaningfully. A quarter avocado does not cross it. You feel briefly satisfied, but the signal is weak and fades within 90 minutes. Half an avocado, approximately 14 grams of fat, reliably crosses the threshold. The signal is strong, clean, and capable of suppressing appetite for 5 to 6 hours in most people. A whole avocado in one sitting adds unnecessary caloric load without proportional hormonal benefit. Half is the precision dose, exact, deliberate, and not negotiable for this experiment. Timing and quantity set the foundation. This third variable amplifies everything built so far. Alongside the avocado, you need 2 to 3 whole eggs cooked gently with soft yolks. This pairing is not casual nutrition advice, it is a coordinated biochemical sequence. Eggs contain choline, a compound found exclusively in the yolk that your liver uses to synthesize phosphatidylcholine, the molecule responsible for packaging fat into transport carriers that ship stored lipids out of the liver and into circulation to be burned by muscle tissue. Without sufficient choline, fat accumulates inside liver cells, slowing every downstream fat oxidation process. Avocado fires the fat-burning signal. Eggs give the liver the infrastructure to execute it. Together, they form a complete instruction, not just two healthy foods sitting on the same plate. The yolks must stay soft, low heat, gentle cooking, runny center. Overcooking oxidizes the lipids in the yolk and degrades choline content. Oxidized lipids are inflammatory, and inflammation is the chemical enemy of every process this protocol is trying to activate. Poached, soft-boiled, or slow scrambled over the lowest heat setting, that is the non-negotiable cooking method.
Variable 4. The no-starch rule. For this one-day experiment, the avocado and eggs cannot share the plate with any starch. No toast, no potato, no oats on the side. This is the rule most people resist hardest, and the one that determines whether the entire protocol works or silently fails. Here's the biochemistry. Starch converts to glucose. Glucose triggers insulin, and insulin functions like a master circuit breaker for every fat-burning signal carefully constructed so far. When insulin spikes sharply, glucagon drops. OEA receptor activity drops. The fat oxidation window slams shut. Your body will always choose to burn incoming glucose before reaching for stored fat, so every gram of starch on that plate jumps the queue and pushes fat burning back by hours. Avocado and eggs alone produce a minimal, controlled insulin response. Glucagon stays elevated. The body remains in active usage mode rather than defensive storage mode. If you need more volume on the plate, add spinach, sliced cucumber, sauerkraut, or any fibrous non-starchy vegetable. These preserve the hormonal environment without disrupting it. But the moment starch enters the meal, the experiment ends and an ordinary breakfast begins. The cholesterol question. Some of you are now thinking about the eggs, yolks plus avocado fat in the same meal. What about cholesterol? Let us be precise. Dietary cholesterol and blood cholesterol are not the same variable, and decades of research have confirmed this clearly. The liver operates a feedback system. When you consume more dietary cholesterol, the liver produces less of its own. When you eat less, it produces more. For the overwhelming majority of people, Whole food sources of dietary cholesterol do not meaningfully raise cardiovascular risk. The true drivers of dangerous cholesterol patterns are insulin resistance, chronic inflammation, and oxidized lipids from processed seed oils. Eggs address all three of those drivers in the correct direction. They raise HDL, the protective form. They improve LDL particle size, making it significantly less prone to oxidation and arterial damage. And the oleic acid in avocado is the dominant fat profile of the Mediterranean diet, the most consistently heart-protective dietary pattern in clinical literature. These two foods together are not a cardiovascular risk, they are a cardiovascular intervention. What happens in your body today? Here is the exact timeline when you follow this protocol tomorrow. In the first hour, no glucose spike, no insulin surge. Your brain runs on choline from the soft yolks and the clean, sustained energy from avocado fat. Mental clarity arrives without caffeine dependency. Mid-morning, CCK and OEA are still actively circulating. The thought of snacking genuinely does not arise. The appetite suppression feels nothing like restriction. It is a complete, authentic absence of hunger. In the afternoon, because insulin stayed low all morning, your fat-burning window extended further into the day than it typically does. Your mitochondria have been oxidizing fat for hours. And by evening, because your first meal front-loaded the day with precision nutrition, your brain registered deep satiety early. Evening hunger is quiet and manageable. The urge to binge simply isn't there. The protocol. Tomorrow morning, within 45 minutes of waking, prepare 2 to 3 eggs on the lowest heat possible, yolks soft, cooked in butter or ghee only. Slice half a ripe avocado alongside. No toast, no starch, no fruit juice. Eat slowly and then observe. Pay attention at noon. Pay attention at 3 in the afternoon. Notice where the hunger is not. Most people try to lose belly fat by subtracting food. This protocol works by adding something so precisely targeted that your body stops asking for anything else. Fix the first meal, and the rest of the day quietly corrects itself. Try it for one day and see if you can feel the shift.